I think because of the rising emergence of technology, now we see a heightened interest in entrepreneurship from students because many of them see these technologies arising at a fast pace and many new opportunities are created in the market. And many of them ask themselves, why should I be an employee for the rest of my life and work long hours for somebody else when I actually can create my own startup and be the guide of my own success?
We know that most graduates, when they get into the workforce, are going to have probably about 17 different jobs and 5 different careers. There's this very non-linear landscape, and there is an environment where the traditional boundaries between sectors don't necessarily exist anymore.
What the new generation entrepreneurs are asking, look, things that we're doing, is it environmentally friendly? Is it acceptable to the community? They're not just profit maximizers, they're actually purpose maximizers, and they understand the world much better than, I think, the earlier generation. And this is where they're starting to see, how can I make a difference? In the process of making that difference, yes, I also want to be rich so that I can do better. My grandparents, who came here as migrants, were very risk-averse. They worked in plantations. My father, who was the first generation in this part of the world, was also very risk-averse, took safe jobs. We were the second generation. We played halfway in the sense that we took safe jobs, but willing to try different things, dabble in a little bit of entrepreneurship. But the next generation, because they've got the comfort of safety at home, they're willing to be part of, create, nurture, and develop the gig economy.
If you were looking back over the last couple of generations, you would see people were actually being prepared to go into careers. Entrepreneurship is increasingly something that students are looking at, and the statistics say anything from 40 to 60% of people going through university are expressing an interest in being an entrepreneur. That doesn't mean they're going to go on and be an entrepreneur, but it says something about their mindset. Part of that has probably come because the job market has become more competitive.
Well, I think the statistics around why we need to do this really come from, if we look across Europe and look across the US, the economy is underpinned by small companies that grow into large companies and then move forward. In Australia, we've been slow, I think, at translating our research and starting up these new companies. So I think the Australian economy ultimately is going to be dependent on companies that we start to take advantage of the education provided by universities such as Monash, to use that learning and then to put that out into the broader community.
We really saw a gap in that science students were being educated in a way that was helping them to be brilliant researchers, but wasn't helping them to take science out into other areas of the world, in terms of business world or into politics. And we wanted to create a degree which would enable science students to be able to go out and have impact in other areas of society than they traditionally had.
So I just graduated last month, and now I'm looking to get more involved with Bioquisitve and similar endeavors. I did biochemistry and molecular biology. Myself and a community decided to set up Bioquisitve because we felt like it was really hard to get the practical experience in sciences. We get all sorts of people coming in to basically engage with science who haven't had an opportunity to do so, whether they're students that are looking for more practice, members of the public that really want to get involved with science but can't. We tend to help everybody out, including professionals in industry who need to find a place to do some innovation every now and then. Like tonight when I'm running my workshop, I'm going to watch a whole bunch of people that have never done anything with science suddenly do, what would basically be considered a third-year practical over at university in the span of 6 hours. And watching their reaction to what happens at the end of the workshop is fantastic. The second project, which I'm doing due diligence for now, is kind of like Bioquisitve, but it's more commercial. So really servicing the innovators, out there that need a space. It's a model that works throughout the world. It's a science co-working space, essentially, where people just come in and rent a bench space that has everything they need, from the equipment, the certification of the lab, and also have access to a community of like-minded people with which to collaborate. I do need to find a way to support myself because this is quite taxing. I gotta find a way somehow because I can't keep cleaning pools over at the casino.
The downside of having the dream of being an entrepreneur is, for the vast majority of people, it's not going to happen. They may think they've got the best idea available to them. They may think it's easy to get things into the marketplace. It isn't. It's hard work. It's constant development of ideas, constant pitching those ideas and winning the confidence of other people, and then having the opportunity to take it forward. So I just think anyone who goes into it just needs to have their eyes open and know that, yes, the possibilities are rich, but the likelihoods are limited. Young people need heroes, and they also need people and role models to be able to aspire to. And the type of role models available now are just different. Professor Yunus is a great example of that. He could have gone into any corporate environment, but he's decided to apply himself in such a way that ordinary people in countries which otherwise would have faced disadvantage are going to have a life for the better. And lots of young people will be highly motivated by that.
The village was next to the university campus where I was teaching. And I would go to the village, see if there's something that I can do. Then I become familiar with the loan sharking in the village. Terrible things I see every day, that people lend tiny amount of money and grab everything the other person has. So one idea that I had, why don't I lend the money myself? I started giving money. And gradually it became very popular. Everybody wanted to borrow money from me. So I was very happy that it worked for people. We converted it into a bank called Grameen Bank, or Village Bank. It's a large organization now. It's a nationwide bank. It lends out to over 9 million borrowers now, mostly women. 97% are women. Extremely poor women when they join Grameen Bank. Gradually they improve their life by starting a business, making a small money and moving on doing that.
The new world of work has meant that universities have to rethink the way that we're educating our students. I think we're seeing power shift from the centre to the outside, and when we see that shift of power starting to take place, it puts it in the hands of people like our youth, other marginalised people, and they have the potential to create a huge disruption to business, disruption to the economy, and that disruption could be extremely positive for our future.
Generator was an idea that I had probably about 3 years ago. And the idea was to look at ways in which we could bring students from different faculties together to think about starting up companies, to give them the kind of support they needed to start up companies.
It was very life-changing, a very, very life-changing experience. I got to meet amazing people. I got to be exposed to the startup space. Founding Happy Brain Education was just a logical step on the way to trying to make the world a better place. We have around 1,000 students at Happy Brain Education. We are both in Melbourne and Sydney. We receive referrals from schools, from the Department of Human Services, etc. for our Access program, which is exclusively for students from refugee backgrounds. We focus a lot on school subjects, so helping students with academics and helping them achieve their potential at school. But we try to make up for all the gaps in the education system as well. Like, we try to do a lot of confidence building, skill building, public speaking workshops, making sure that the students are connected to other students, making sure that the students are involved in social projects, extending the students beyond just what school and academics are doing, and trying to create an ideal education system on the side on weekends.
I think human beings are not born to work for anybody. They are on their own, they are independent, they are entrepreneur, they are creative, and that's what their natural self is. Well, this entrepreneur that I'm talking about is changing the world. They take risks, they want to see things differently, they go beyond themselves, they look at problems around them and come with ideas how to do it in a way that will solve the problem.
I do want to be an entrepreneur, but in a slightly different field. I'm a Bharatnatyam practitioner. It is an Indian classical dance form, and I want to start my own school of Bharatnatyam.
Back in my country, I would like to create a new company and start from scratch. It would be so nice that my kids in the future will see what I have created. So I will really like to do that.
Today, we organized the second Innovation Challenge. Monash partnering with Daisy, an artificial intelligence provider, and it was about providing students the real-life opportunity to actually pitch to industry partners and get a slice of life of how actually this process from idea to marketization and capital raising works.
Of course, we're not dealing with a real investment, but never before I have think about like, okay, I will pitch this because they need to buy my idea. But I think it's really important because you really get useful insights for the future.
If they include more subjects like these, where you have the learning which you can apply, you can go to places, you can interview people, you can gain experiences out of everything that's around you.
If you learn about entrepreneurship, but you don't become an entrepreneur, the organization that you go into is going to be better. You're going to learn about risk. You're going to learn about raising funds. You're going to learn about how to scrutinize ideas and work out what the good ideas are. You're going to be willing to speak up and actually present your ideas in a very cogent and coherent way. And any organization that gets you, having gone through that training, is going to have someone who's going to be committed to looking for solutions for the future and helping to make that organization better.